I wanted to ask you this, since we are looking at the charts here, let's refocus on those. There's been, we've talked about this, but like the lack of interest seemingly as opposed to the last bull cycle, obviously, because all there was HEX in this ecosystem. There wasn't an ecosystem really outside of HEX. Now we've got an L1. Now we've got an awesome DEX. We've got all these cool things built with HEX in mind. But we're seeing HEX not necessarily perform very well against Pulse, and while Pulse has kind of pumped up here, of course, things are liquidity bonded. The HEXs did come up with it, but it's not necessarily performing really, really well. And like Sami the other day was just talking about how, and again, you can do this with any time frames. I mean, you can pick like start point A, end point B, and make up whatever narrative you want to. But he is right that in 3 years, it's 0% return as far as HEX goes. Now,
if you weren't staking.
Yes, I was just going to say, not including staking or anything, even though that wouldn't change it too much, I don't believe. But as far as the actual return, but what do you make of this? I mean, like, is HEX boring to people now? Like the long term, is it cycle 2? Just that part of the narrative. And I mean, obviously, people are more obsessed with shiny new toys like PulseChain and PulseX. Obviously, you and I think that people are mistaken to not value HEX, but also, as I say in the intro to our show, the market is the market. The people make the market, kind of.
Sure.
So what do you make of that? I mean, obviously, you're staked out long term. I'm staked out long term. Many people that were here last cycle have lots of vested interest in HEX because they are staked out long term. But yeah, what do you make of that? And do you think HEX can recover against Pulse?
You have to. So it's a tough one. I think people have lost interest. It isn't the new shiny object. It's the store of value. It's a boring proposition. It really is. But I think, once people start making some money, I see a lot of that end up going back into HEX. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a late bloomer this cycle. If you remember, the bull run for HEX last cycle, it was compressed into like 2 or 3 months. It was very short. It went from whatever it was, 10 cents to 50 cents in very short period of time. So, I don't think it's going to be a just steady climb of new people just jumping in because, oh, check this out. I think what it's going to take is people that are coming into PulseChain because they see all these other things happening. I think the new people that are out there talking about it will get people in here. They'll turn some profits, and then they'll be like, "Oh, what's this? This thing over here? Oh, well, it's a store of value, and it, you can mint more of your own, that way." Again, it's not exciting. But it serves its purpose. It does what it's supposed to do. With the trustless yield. And I think people will find their way to it. It's not going to be one of those things that's why they come here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you there. I would not be surprised because we did see this when the ecosystem got its first kind of leg up from the lows, where HEX led the way and it was actually pumping the hardest right out of the gate. I think that at any time, who knows, an interested party or entity may be interested in really sending HEX, honestly, against this other stuff and reminding people who's boss a little bit here. So,
it wouldn't take much to pump it. It won't take much to pump it. The liquidity's thin. There isn't a whole lot for sale. So when it runs, and that's kind of what it took to set it off. The last cycle was the Godwill came in and just bought a ton, sent it, and people got left behind. So, things like that happen. Whales make a big difference, and it only takes one or two to come in to make a huge difference in the price, where maybe eyes kind of get focused back over there and people rotate back out again. People are always rotating for other things, playing that game rather than just steadfast, holding the things that they believe in. So,
yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. It's going to be an interesting ride. But what I would say, and not financial advice, just what we do. But I wouldn't want to be caught off guard not holding Hex. I mean, I have no choice really. But I have chosen with the big three assets for, if you want to say two different hexes. Have chosen to just kind of split it evenly before the market really took off, and I'm glad I have it that way. So I don't want to be caught off guard. So
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of where the ecosystem is right now. Things are kind of flushing out, but we'll see where we are over the next few weeks. But certainly still bullish, obviously mid long term. So